Welcome back to America's Retirement Headquarters, home of the Retirement Guys formula and America's Medicare Associates. 419-794-3030 is the phone number. It's 419-794-3030. ARHQ.com is the website. If you like to go to the casino, pay attention. Las Vegas and a lot of other casinos are changing some games to give the house an even bigger edge. The odds on a blackjack table, they've always been 3-2, meaning a $10 winning bet paid $15. But new tables are going to say 6-5, which means a $10 bet pays only $12. And if you play roulette, they're actually adding a 000 green spot, which also lowers your odds of winning. An executive at Caesars said, quote, "We're bringing in higher value customers and we're already full, so we're kicking out the lowest end. I see no reason for that to stop or why it would stop." So the games are designed in their favor. They always have been, but even more so these days. And if you don't have a lot of money, it turns out they don't want you. And I can't help but draw the parallel here to the financial industry catering to the elite. The team at America's Retirement Headquarters, guys, how are you fighting back for your clients?
Well, I think over the years had a lot of people that have come into the office and they've said investing in the stock market's like gambling. And, my answer back to that is if that's the case, we need to put the odds in your favor, make you the house, not the player. They don't build those big casinos off of winners. So you need to make sure that you have some specific steps to be able to kind of put the odds in your favor. Interesting enough, my oldest son for spring break at college time, I had taken him and another one of his college friends and dad on a cruise. We went down to Mexico, and that was the first time he was old enough to be able to gamble on the cruise ship. They had $6 blackjack hands, and they had some slot machines. I think, as I've got older in life, I've tended to not like to gamble as much anymore as what I used to when I was younger and I had no money. But I think about the reality of losing money at the slots or the gambling. In this case, I gave Andrew $100 to spend. I figured, $6 blackjack hand wasn't that big of a deal, and he could play for a while. In fact, he did really well. He played all week long and ended up, I think, after the cruise ship walked out with $120. So, putting the odds in your favor can be a way to get that done. When we look at it, though, and you're looking at it, how do you, as an investor, put the odds in your favor? Number one, I think you need to set clear goals. Even in the casino, it's having clear goals. The clear goals are, know what your limits are. Know in the times that you ever want to, actually make money. The only time you really make money is if you pull some money off the table and put it in your pocket. One of the lessons I taught Andrew is after a while, after you get a couple of good hands and you're making some money, pull some of those chips and put them in your pocket. So, if you have some good runs in the market, maybe a good idea to pull some money off. I know Andrew, again, has recently had some stocks that have gone gangbuster this year. Mm-hmm. My advice to him was to pull some of those winnings off and not put it back in there to kind of lock in your profits and have some of those goals set aside. You don't want to keep switching strategies. We see investors that will jump into one strategy and they'll try that out for 6 months or a year, and then they'll want to switch over to a different strategy, or they'll try to get in and out of the market. And it's like going to a slot machine and putting $100 in, and then moving in another slot machine and doing $100 and $100. We think about Father's Day last week and lessons from Dad. My dad taught me that if you ever play a slot machine, you guys all stick together and play that machine until it pays off. Your odds are better. I don't know if Dad's right or wrong on that one, because I know the odds are still against me, but I've kind of stuck with that strategy for a while, and it seems to work. And number three is you want to manage your risk. You see people at casinos that are spending way too much money and making bets on money that they can't afford and taking out risk that are way too dangerous. Any tips? I mean, as you get together with people, Jeremy, you're talking to people about, how to put the odds in their favor when it comes to retirement. Ideas and suggestions for our listeners?
I would say probably the biggest thing is, what we call chasing returns and avoiding chasing returns. So what will happen is people will get their 401k statement in the mail and look at what did these particular funds do in the last 6 months, a year. And what they'll do more often than not is take a look, this fund did 23%. This was the best fund to be in. Let me get into that fund now. Where, you want to have more of a forward-looking perspective. And just because the fund was the best one last year doesn't mean it's going to be the best one moving forward. And that's what's, called chasing returns. And, it goes into buying high and selling low when you do that, when you're constantly looking for what performed well. It's not to say that fund can't do well, but what you want to do is, like you mentioned, keep a long-term perspective. When you're accumulating savings, you want a dollar cost average in, and hopefully you can dollar cost average out. And that's classic buy low, sell high. Is the way to do that. Taking profits, of course, is never a bad idea. Sell to the basis. I don't want to get into too much industry jargon, but those are some of the things that I look at. And I know when we do discovery meetings with folks and we take a look at our software, what we'll do is that, I've seen you do this a number of times with the calculator, is look at what's the possible highest return and what's the negative return in that 95% probability over 6 months. And what we want to do is get those odds in your favor, where it's more like 2-to-1 instead of like 1.3.
Yeah, so it's a matter of even knowing what your odds are. I think oftentimes when investors come into our office and they're not working with our firm, they don't even know what their odds are. They don't even know if their odds are in their favor. So using that technology, we can help you put the odds in your favor. Really break down, what your upside win ratio is, what your downside capture ratio is. So all those things can be done to help put the odds in your favor. So if you thought, here in saving for your retirement, the odds are against you and you want to learn how to put the odds in your favor. Again, if you're a listener for our show, whether you're a first-time listener or if you listen to 100 times, we would be happy to run the portfolio analysis and tell you exactly what your odds are. So just like what Jeremy was talking about, show you your win-loss ratio, your upside-downside capture, and give you some feedback on how to be able to put the odds in your favor. And that's exactly what we can do to help you out.
Again, all it takes to get started is a way of saying thank you, taking advantage of this portfolio analysis. Thank you for joining us here on the show. Give a call and schedule a time to speak with the team at America's Retirement Headquarters, 419-794-3030. Help turn the odds in your favor, 419-794-3030. You can also go to the website as well, arhq.com.